Described as a cross between Little Miss Sunshine, Cheaper by the Dozen, and Modern Family, The Lotteries more or less teaches young ones the importance of going with the flow when things don't go according to plan. Now, here to tell us more about this eagerly awaited book is best-selling author Emma Donoghue. Emma, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Alex. Nice to talk to you.
Great to have you on. So let's talk a little bit about why you decided to get into writing children's books. I mean, you wrote Room, which was decidedly not a child's book. What made you get into writing for the middle graders?
That's true, but Room was from a child's perspective, and I found that readers really from about 12 and up responded so warmly to Jack's perspective that I decided to try writing for children. I just love the child's perspective on the world because it's so unpredictable. They know so little and they imagine so much. And they're oddly logical in how they try and work out the puzzles of our daily life. So yeah, the Lottery series is narrated by a 9-year-old, and she's kind of the center, the hinge of her huge family, from a 1-year-old up to a 16-year-old. She's got 6 siblings, 4 parents, 5 pets, a grandfather. It's a really big family in every sense, very noisy. They homeschool, they have lots of adventures, and I really tried to capture the multicultural vibe of life in a North American city and how people just, rub along with people who are different from them, and it all kind of works.
Well, the Lotteries, the family in the book are it's a big family. They're boisterous. They're very together. Is this inspired from your own family or from another family?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 8 in an Irish family, and even though we were very conventional and all looked much more similar, the vibe, the feeling of, all these different strong personalities somehow muddling along and trying to find room for their own hobbies and their own interests. That sense of the busy dinner table where it's hard to get a word in edgeways. I'm very nostalgic about that. I loved it. And even though I've only got 2 kids myself, they talk a lot. So, family life feels like this very lively, buzzing, ever-changing thing to me. As soon as you think you've got it sorted, you make some awful mistake and you realize, I need a whole new set of skills now that they're growing up a bit. So yeah, I tried to draw on both my generations of family.
Well, and as I mentioned at the top, the main character sort of has trouble keeping the family tradition that particular year sort of on track. Is that sort of the message you want to send to readers, is go with the flow? If things don't go according to plan, just kind of keep it going?
Yeah, and in a way find what really matters about events like Thanksgiving or Christmas, that the details may vary and things may go wrong. In this case, an ice storm hits the city, so I was interested in exploring how people cope and pull together when there's some extreme weather event, as we see so often nowadays. So I wanted to see how you could kind of capture that same spirit of the holidays, but when the power goes out and the streets are covered in ice and all the planes are grounded.
So is it a challenge to write for this age group? Did you find that you ran into things?
It's much harder than writing for adults. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes at least another full draft, because I have to write novels that have just as much complexity and richness in them. You can't offer something sort of dumbed down to children, not a bit. It needs to be full of complexity and subtlety, but you also have to say to yourself, is it moving along fast enough? Are there, not too many difficult words? Is it assuming any knowledge of the world they wouldn't have? If I need to explain some difficult issue like the grandfather's dementia, or the fact that the youngest child has lots of delays because he was shaken before the family adopted him, can I find a kind of a light and breezy way to introduce these hard truths? So much harder, but so enjoyable as work. And my kids are such an inspiration to me. I regularly discuss plot points with them and use things that happen to our family, especially if we mess up in some way. All our mistakes get harvested for this series.
Not to mention, along with your talented writing, there's wonderful illustrations in the book that kids will be able to enjoy. 8 to 10-year-olds are really just going to love this book from front to back. Emma, congrats on another book, and thanks for joining me here.
Thank you so much.
Stay where you are. We'll be right back.